Welcome to the Weekly Rebound Podcast, live here on Google Hangouts, brought to you on YouTube and other platforms. Greg Horn, my co-host here, joining me, ready to break down a great week of action. Greg, my man, are you ready?
I mean, in times like this, when Flint gets the upset of the century, that's right, Rosinsky. How you feeling, Rosinsky? I know I got a lot of flack for picking Flint. Got a lot of flack from Shocker City, a lot last year from Pratt, a lot from the boys over in Shocker. I like them. They're still high on my rankings. But Flint wins, we drink. Shocker, that's what the Tropics do. That's what they do.
Full Shannon Sharp edition, Greg Horn. He's coming in hot. That means this episode is about to be fire. Wow, what an opening take. If we can do those cold cuts before the episodes like we used to, Greg, that would definitely be a feature clip for sure. But let's get right into the action. I can already tell you're ready to go. Surprise on the rise, Greg. We actually got a good one this week. I feel like, most weeks are kind of lackluster. We're a little bit forcing the envelope. But this week, I honestly feel like it's a good week to shine some light on Carl Fairfax. We're both big fans of the Rim Breakers, Greg. Let's be real about it. And, man, they got some studs on that team. Rich Bronson, Pooch, McLeese, Chris Lee, Rich and all those guys. They're the forefront of that team. And Carl's, a side weapon that they bring out. He most of the time walks into the game late. So I think, he shows up in the second half most of the time. But when he shows up, he always finds a way to produce. And, he's only averaging 8 points on the season, but the last 3 weeks, he's been averaging over 12 points per game combined. So he's definitely found his rhythm. And he even in those games, he showed up late. So it's a good week to shine some light on Carl Fairfax. Greg, what do you see from his production and what he brings to this Rim Breakers team?
No, yeah. You can see his stats right here. It's he's – what he brings to this Rim team is more than stats, and that's why I kind of want to show you them. Look, his stats aren't – he's been balling these past 2 weeks. He's actually been really efficient, and he's been doing his thing. But he brings to this Rim Breakers team something that a lot of teams miss, in my opinion, and that's just enthusiasm, entertainment, keeping the level of hype. And, I'm trying to think Shocker City against Flint missed that this week, and I think that you got to have a medium in between having fun and the seriousness. You need a bunch of guys who are serious, but you also need a few guys that are going to, give you a little laugh, keep you right. Basketball at the end of the day, where did we all start playing basketball? It was in our backyard. It was in the playground. It was with a few kids, and we were having fun. We were shooting hoops. It only started to become really competitive like this as you get older. Right. And I think he brings it out of everyone on that team, from Chris Lee to Rich Bronson, to Gerald McLeese, to Pooch if he's playing still, to Darnell Huckabee, to Zeke, to everyone they have on this team. I think he just makes them laugh, makes them smile, makes them have a good time playing, and it makes them want to be in legacy leagues that Monday night after work. Right. They had a long day at work. It makes it more enjoyable, and it makes them play better, I think. And I think that it makes him play better, and it's contagious for the team. And he does something for that team that I don't think a lot of people do in this league. And I think he's huge for the Rim Breakers in that sense.
Greg, those were some really good takes, my man, because that wasn't just some filler content to get his take and pass it over to me. That was some actual good content. If you're listening, you should probably appreciate that in a little bit because it makes sense. You need those guys on your team who give you those morale boosters. You look forward to playing with on Monday night. Right, a Devon Pratt, he really is the Lance Stevenson. Carl's out there playing the air guitar, balling out. So you need guys like that get you going in other ways, not just on the stat sheet like you mentioned. So some good takes there, Greg. A good surprise on the rise this week. A segment we always, we're always saying, should we do surprise on the rise this week? Sure enough, it worked out well for us this week. So let's get right into it, Greg. This, following up the Super Bowl Sunday, man, we got our own little Super Bowl Monday matchup in the legacy leagues, dude. We had the Flint Tropics taking on Shocker City, and this was the 1 versus the 2, the 2 top dogs in the league going head to head at each other's throats on social media all week with the leading up to this matchup. So you knew this was going to be a good one. And man, Greg, you were right. You called it. You picked Flint, and they showed out. They won 73-60 over Shocker, like you said in the opening takes. You didn't even let me spoil it for you. So they already knew the results. But dude, some great performances in this game. I just want to highlight the numbers and let you get into all of it. That, give you as much time as you want to highlight your boys. But Bozzuto with 18 and 10, obviously just a superstar performance like you're going to get from him. Mike Druin was probably the guy that they really relied on as that secondary scorer. It was 14 points on 7 to 10 shooting. So almost every time he got the rock and an opportunity to score, he took advantage of it. And Matt Sear, Greg, unsung hero of this team, dude. 6 points. He might slip past your eyes in the stat sheet. Dude, he had 5 assists, 5 rebounds, 3 steals, 2 blocks. He does everything else that they ask of him. They have the scorers on this team. They don't need him to drop, double digits in the scoring column. They just need him to do what he does best, and that's facilitate the floor as a big man. He can also handle the rock. He makes good passes. When they were pressing, I saw him. He was very, poised, calm, and collected, so he was able to break the press in those late situations. Just an all-around great performance from him. And then for the Shocker City, just, not enough. A lackluster 15 from Mike, 16 from Pratt. And Jason Hernandez actually had a good game, but 10 points and only had 5 shots. Not enough playing time down the stretch for him, Greg.
No, yeah. I mean, look, Flynn, what a job by them. The last time Mike Davis lost, like I was telling you, he dropped 59 points. So I expect him next week to really do his thing. Shocker City – they had a really off game. They shot 20% from 3-point percentage. They're number 1 in the league this year in 3-point percentage from the field. They're 3-point from the 3-point line from the field. Lord, they're 40% from the field this year. I mean this game, and it was just rough. It was just rough sailing for them. It wasn't the normal Shocker City we saw. Mike Davis 5 of 15. Devon Pratt doing his thing. He continues to be an MVP candidate. But this Flint team continues to do what they do, and that's play team basketball and play some of the best basketball we've ever seen in this league. I mean, the way that they just move the ball around, Dom Migliaro leading the league in assists and continue doing so with an absolute emphasis. He's leading by, I believe, 12. He's just doing his thing. Mike Bozzuto, Mike Druin, and Dom might be a big 3, but then you got someone like TJ Gianni or Nick Japs or Matt Sear. Everyone in this team can play. Ryan Caggiano, I know, is now out with his back. He probably won't play the rest of the season. And I don't even know if it hurts or it helps them because they're just so deep. I don't even know if it matters at this point. This Flint team, the way they play so unselfishly. They play with the passion. They play with having fun, just like we said with Carl Fairfax. They all want to play. They also have been playing on this size hoop for so long because they did that Walcott. They've been playing in that Walcott mini leagues thing, I believe. So it's just this team is built for this league. Their games have adapted to this league. They only took 13 threes and only made 5 and beat Shocker City. And usually the key to Shocker City is keeping up with their threes. They played phenomenal defense. They got in Shocker City's head. And I think that Shocker City wasn't ready for these guys to come out like they did. I mean, the way Flint plays basketball is it's weird. It's not your normal type of basketball, but it gets the job done so effectively in this league. And they proved it. I mean, it was an extremely impressive showing on especially the defensive side.
Yeah, especially on the defensive end. And you want to talk about having an impact with Ryan Caggiano out. I don't think it's going to affect this team, and here's why, Greg. Because he still shows up. And it's one of those things where it's like kind of what we're talking about with Carl Fairfax. Ryan's probably not a huge presence on the stat sheet, but he's a guy who, is going to show up. He's going to chew up some guard minutes when guys get tired and whatnot. But mainly, he's a personality off the bench. Everyone loves him. He's a great guy that cheers everybody on. He's never selfish with his minutes whenever he's there. So, he's an all-around team guy. And those are the types of guys that, even when he shows up, suited and booted on the bench, cheering on his boys, is going to have an impact on that team. They'll find a way to make up for him in the stat sheet because they have so many other guys that can step up. So, like you said, I don't think that'll affect them too much because of his presence there, being there on those nights that they play. If he continues to do that, they're going to, thrive off that energy and continue to play well. So shout out to Flint. They proved me wrong. I had Shocker in that game, but that's Greg and that's the boys, man. That's the squad of the league right now, man. For real. Those guys are close knit and together, and they're a true unit. So they'll be a force to be reckoned with come playoff time, and no doubt the number 1 top ranked seeded team right now, unless barring any crazy loss this last week to who they play, TMC, Greg.
The Flint Trop. I mean, I want to say they played team. Well, who haven't they played? They haven't played TMC. And
it is TMC. I just peeked. I just peeked it.
Yeah, well, that could be a loss. The thing is, they have the tiebreaker over Shocker, so they can afford a loss.
Right, but I'm not gonna spoil anything, but I'm most likely picking the Flint. But we're gonna get into that because there's some things we need to talk about with the pick 'em, some little surprises for that. So stay tuned for that. So okay, let's get into the next game. Had a bunch of good games this week. Like I said, following up the Super Bowl Sunday, we got a really good slate of games. Better than the Super Bowl, in my opinion, because the Super Bowl sucked this year. Shout out to all you Patriots fans. But let's get into it, Greg. Young King Sportsbook, man. This was a close-ass game. Let's just be real about it. Sportsbook squeaks out the 2-point win over Young Kings, who sit dang near the bottom of our power rankings, and Sportsbook's up there near the top. So this was almost a huge upset, dude. The Young Kings got some massive performances from their guys, Destin and DJ, who show up together, they ball together, and they put up 30-plus together. 33 from Destin, 41 from DJ. And then Dante Abe, a nice showing from him. He had 17 and 8. But it was basically a 4v4 game. Pat Sestaro was the fourth for the Young Kings and only delivered 5 points. But for Sportsbook, they only had 4 guys as well. It was Kokoros, who gave you 36, Acevedo, 29, Baccarella, 27, and Scott Christie, who gave them 6, but he also had 11 rebounds. So he was a good, solid guy on the post for them, just getting boards, kicking it out to his shooters. Sportsbook squeaks out the win, Greg. Are you really enthused by this win, though? Only 2 points over what we consider a bottom-ranked team.
Again, this is my concern with sports, that they got to have more people going to the games, man. It worries me. This has been a common theme with them throughout their legacy in the legacy leagues, no pun intended. I mean, they always seem to be shorthanded when it comes to these games. And I mean, they have the talent. Dan Korkoros could be the most improved player this season, without a doubt. I think he's going to be up there for that award. Brian Acevedo looks like he's coming in hot, and he should need to be a little smarter with his shots. Nick Baccarella is a little hothead, but he's doing his thing and playing his role. He's like Pat Beverly. And, they snuck out. I'm not worried because they snuck out a win without their full team, and I think that's what you have to do without your full team. But I would like to see their full team come in. DJ Foster, I think needs to be a little smarter with the ball, just because he had Dante Bate wide open in for the game-winning 3, and he could have gave it to him. I mean, Dante was 1 of 2 that game from 3. He was wide open. They could have gave it to him, but he had a hell of a game, DJ. So I really have nothing to say for them. Young Kings again both teams did their things with essentially 4 people each. So it was very impressive for both teams to put on an effort like this without a full team, because they were probably extremely tired. I was talking to Destin Simmons throughout the game, and he was saying he was dead. Mm-hmm. So just shout out both of these teams for really just fighting and making it, a 2-point game. They almost scored 100 each with only 4 people. So it was impressive for both sides.
And there were highlights left and right in this game, Greg. There were bodies being caught at the rim. Kokoros put some people, on the ground. Destin had some nasty, nasty plays. Destin was cooking this game. Like, he was cooking, Greg. Behind the line, crossing people up, and then just driving to the hole and posterizing people. He had some threes where he's just got that quick release, that Curry touch to his shot sometimes, where it's when Destin Simmons is on, Greg, it is really a sight. He plays with momentum. When he gets going, he turns into a player that you honestly can't guard. And I want to even say he's literally like a top 5 offensive player in this entire league when he's right. He had that whole season where he had that bad ankle. He's playing the roll off the bench with Shocker. With Shocker and Chris's team. And, it wasn't really the full Destin Simmons experience, and we're really getting it this season on the Young Kings. I know that they're not getting a lot of wins, but it's really fun just watching Destin show up and know he has to give you 30, and watching him do so. It's truly a sight. So if you ever get put on one of those Young Kings games, you might look at it like, the Young Kings. But then when Destin shows up, he gives you a show. So I love Destin for that. So, guys, let's get into the next one, bro. It's only 2 more games to get into before we get into the rest of the stuff. So let's finish them off. The Rim Breakers and Nick Strong. This was another closely contested game till the end, but the Rim Breakers pulled away late in the 4th quarter, 12-point win. And my man Rich Bronson came to play, Greg. Let me tell you, we always give this team, the Rim Breakers, some flack for not trying their hardest or coming in with, a clear, loose, and light, faint of heart type of approach. But these guys came out, and I tell you, Rich Bronson, he put the nail on the head, drilled it, and said, let's go, boys. We're getting going. And he delivered 21 points, 6 assists, 5 boards, and his boy McLeese. So Greg's dog is going to feature on the pod, Greg. Let him figure things out over there. I don't even think he's in his chair right now. So, Ryan Florentine for Nick Strong as well, guys. 24 points, 12 rebounds, 5 assists, 3 steals, and 2 blocks. Greg's boy, Linguini, with the sauce, just pouring it out. Everybody was getting cooked. Nobody could stop Ryan Florentine. Shout out to that man. He's a bad man. I don't know how he'd be putting up those numbers that he's putting up. Is he's honestly looking like a true all-star this season. Another guy that Greg mentioned, most improved. I think Ryan Florentine is another guy that could be thrown into that argument just because of the way he's playing this year. His efficiency is so much higher, and if he just got more efficient shooting from his fellow Vesicchio brothers, I think that this Nick Strong team would have been able to win this game, Greg. So now that you're back, Rim Breakers Nick Strong, what do you think about this game?
No, yeah, I completely agree. First of all, Ryan Florentine's balling, man. Gotta give that man credit. He's putting people on posters. He's doing his thing. He's setting top plays. He's an absolute beast. And this Nick Strong team just needs to keep doing what they're doing. I have nothing for them. Just keep doing your thing. Keep fighting. They're doing their thing. As far as the Rim Breakers, I mean, Richard Bronson, like we said, we love him. We love Jared McLeese. I mean, I just love this Rim Breakers team. I think they're getting hot at the right time. I think they're starting to figure it out. I think Carl Fairfax is starting to figure it out. And I think this team is going to be a threat going forward because I think that – they're starting to put it all together and they have the talent to really make a run and do something special in this league. I mean, from top to bottom, they have a deep roster. They can all I think they're starting to find the shots. I think Bronson's starting to hit. McLeese is starting to hit. And, I mean, this Rim Breaker team can all play defense. They're long. And I know they lost Kavion Turnbull from last year, but they still got a deep roster and they still got the stud and Gerald McLeese, some great players in Bronson, Leak, Fairfax, Zeke, Huckabee. And Pooch is still playing. I really like this Rim Breakers team. But, again, like I said, Nick Strong, just keep fighting.
Yep, I like those takes, Greg. What you think about Gerald McLeese pulling 15 3-point attempts? Is that his game, or is he just messing with us?
I don't know. I mean, I think he's trying something new because last year he never did this. So I think maybe because Kavion's gone, he feels like he maybe needs to carry more of a load, or maybe last year when he lost to TMC or Shocker, whoever it was, maybe he thought to himself, maybe I should be pulling more threes. Maybe that's what it is. But, I mean, he's shooting solid, so we'll see if it comes into being more of a factor later on.
Greg's back to calling him Kavion, so we'll see if KT, his boy, is listening to roast him once again because Greg made the agreement to never try pronouncing it again, and there he goes, live and uncensored on the pod. All right, so Greg, let's get into the last game. Run TMC Chasers. Man, dude, TMC, another win that they always, these guys have been forged through the fire, dude. They come out through all these close games, so maybe, we give them some flack for not, really stepping on any team's throats this season, but being in all these close games has got to give them some resiliency come playoff time. We got another one by 3 points here over the Chasers, and it was basically the Reggie Stewart show, 45 points. Just another efficient night. He had 14 rebounds, 8 assists, 3 steals, and then your boy, Greg, Cody DiLeonardo, a.k.a. Captain America, showed up with the Captain America suit on.
So funny.
Man, 16 points, 8 rebounds, with the second best player on Run TMC, bar none. And
been the second best all year.
Podcast, and no, he is not a role player anymore. He is stepping up to be a forefront player on this team, and they need him to deliver these type of performances every night, Greg, if they want to stay competitive. I have no idea what the hell you are doing over there, but I'm gonna continue to just hold it down for Greg while he's doing some all crazy crap this pod. Dom Lang with 36 points, 9 rebounds, 4 assists, and his boy Brandon Seabrook chipped in with 19 on 45% shooting from 3. And David Armstrong, don't let that go slipped under the rug. He had 15 points and 10 boards, nice little double-double with 2 blocks. He's a true big man. You don't see too many of that in the league, guys that don't shoot and just get boards and blocks, and that's him. So not enough, though. Not enough, but some good performances on the behalf of the Chasers that just fell short of Run TMC, Greg.
No, yeah, I mean, I couldn't have said it better myself. I know I only heard about 10% of it, but I know you were giving some nice takes. I know there's a lot of chaos going on in this pod, and honestly, that's what this week was of Legacy League's action. Reggie Stewart, I think right now, if he comes to the next 2 games and puts this effort in, he's going to be the MVP just because, his stats are absolutely phenomenal. First of all, he had 45 of 14 and 8. He's averaging like 34, 8 and 8 on the year. He's just Reggie Stewart is a special, different type of player that this league has ever seen. He is special. That man is a bad man. A bad man. He is Stephen A. Smith, bad Aaron Rodgers. That man, he can ball. And then you got Dom Langston really finding his groove. I think the second year is huge for Dom Langston. I think you were bringing it up, Connor, on Monday night. Dom Langston's doing his thing this year. 36 points. He's fucking balling. Excuse my French. And speaking of French, David Armstrong, man, Get this man a contract in the league. This man is a bona fide big man. He can out-rebound anyone. He'll put it on your head. Bring it to him.
How is that speaking of French? How is that speaking of French?
David Armstrong, the French guy?
Oh, wait. Is that a French guy? Am I the one?
I'm sure there's a guy in France named David Armstrong. But and then
wait. Maybe you could have said the Tour de France with Lance Armstrong. Who cheated. Oh, great.
David Armstrong, France. David Armstrong Publications in France. All right, there we go. Yeah, I found it. Some white gay guy. All right, well, let's move on. Then you got Cody Leonardo, and man, this guy is he he an all second teamer? Is Cody Leonardo an all Legacy League second teamer this season? He's got my vote, man. This man's balling out, doing his thing. Shout out the Chasers, though, for really putting in one of their best efforts all season, I think, in my opinion. They're really playing well. And Eric Langston, let's put an APB out for this man. Where you at?
Where you at, my mans? Where you at, Eric? We need you. Or we, meaning Run TMC, needs you. You a true big man who just enforces that paint for them. And if they don't have you, there's definitely, a soft spot in that defense which teams could take advantage of. I have a
Paul's been nice. Paul's been a bright spot so far.
Eric's probably been at work for those nights. So
I heard he had an ankle injury too.
There you go. It might be even nursing an injury. I know that he would probably show up on nights that he can't, so I wouldn't chalk it up as something that he would. I can probably assure he'll be there for playoff time. That's all you need to know. Greg, let's get into these power rankings, dude. Obviously, there's going to be a big switch up at the top. There's a difference between me and you towards the top, but the bottom halves between ours look pretty similar. Let's get into the bottom four here, Greg. I'll let you start off.
Yeah, the Young Kings at 9. Shout out my boys. I love them, but it's just been rough, man. Nick Strong at 8. JJ Watts, baby, keep pushing.
Keep pushing.
Moose at 7. Injuries, baby, injuries. That's just the key word. If I was playing the Colin Cowherd 3-word thing, injuries. And then 6, Dominique Langston's Lead Chasers.
Greg, off the top of your head, do you know if Nick Strong lost the Moose this year when they played?
I do not know off the top of my head. I believe that Nick Strong, I know they've played Sports Look, and I know, let's look right now. I'm on it. Nick Strong has, nope, they played Moose last week of the season.
So wait, that's coming up?
Last week of the season.
Wow. So
they can move past.
Yeah, that's going to be a matchup that we have to look out for. So, without getting further into it, that's going to be a swing game. I got Young Kings at 9, just like you, Greg. Nick Strong at 8, Moose at 7, and Chasers at 6. So not much to talk about there, but definitely I want to focus on Moose versus Nick Strong just because those are two teams I could see flip-flopping based on what happens in these later weeks. So, Greg, let's get into the top teams now, man. Who do you got at number 5? A very interesting team at number 5 for Greg Horn going up to his top team.
I got Run TNC. Sports Look at 4, Rim Breakers at 3, Shocker City at 2. And the fleet motherfucking tropics.
Somebody help this man.
What?
Somebody help me. Somebody help all the viewers. Like, oh man, Greg Horn is putting on a show today.
Flint.
Rim Breaker at 5 for me, Greg. You got TMC. That is just crazy.
TMC
has proven that they
don't. No one shows up. All right, so if the roster that they've showed up with these past 3 weeks shows up in the playoffs, are they a top 3 team?
No, but if they have their full roster, which I assume they will. Dude, I can say the same thing about Rim Breakers. Half the time they show up with guys that aren't – like McLeese is a hit or miss. There's been weeks where I haven't seen Rich. There's been weeks I haven't seen Chris Leak. There's been weeks that they haven't showed up fully as an assembled roster.
But they don't got a Fairfax.
They don't have a Fairfax. You know what? TMC's got some guys. They got some juice. Reggie Stewart gives them some juice.
No. Look, I love TMC. I gave them the ultimatum a few weeks ago. They have to prove it to me. A 2-point win over the Chasers does not prove that to me.
I feel that.
They're too good.
All right, let me get into my top 4 and finish these off. I got Sports Look at 4, TMC at 3, Shocker at 2, and Flint at 1. My big defense for TMC is that I know they lost the Sports Look as well, but Sports Look, like you said, Greg, they're another team that doesn't show up ever assembled. And when fully assembled, I think
Yeah.
Sportsbook is slightly an underdog to TMC, so that's where I stand with that. And then the big one at the top, like I mentioned, Flint over Shocker. You know, fully deserved, 100%.
Yes.
All out respect to these guys, the Flint Tropics. I say this all the time. They play the best brand of basketball. They're the most enjoying brand of basketball to watch. I was stuck on court too. I couldn't watch the game. I was literally so pissed because every time I looked over, there was a massive play being made and it just looked like gorgeous basketball on both ends being played. So stinks I couldn't watch it, but from what I heard, from what I saw in glimpses, it was a great game. So shout out to them. They deserve it at the top, Greg and the boys. Greg, let's get into the recap or the preview. Recap
Yeah.
long gone. The preview for next week. And let's get right into two of these teams that we were just talking about, man. TMC versus the Flint Tropics. And here's the thing with the picks this week before we get into this one officially. We are doing a spread. So we'll be mentioning a spread.
Why are we doing the spread, though? Let the viewers know.
There's a spread because Greg has a massive lead, and there needs to be something interesting here in these final weeks to give me a chance to make a comeback. This is Greg's, hand me down, I guess, just being a nice guy. But hey, I'm gonna try to do my best to make a comeback with the spread. I'm going up against Greg, basically in every single one of these picks. Run TMC versus Flint Tropics, and we're giving TMC 5.5 points. So Flint minus 5.5. Greg, who are you picking in this one?
Obviously I would not pick against Flint. Flint's going to win, but I think TMC makes this game close. I think their team shows up, and I think TMC covers the points, but I think Flint wins by 5 exactly.
Wow, so that little 0.5 that we threw in there could be a deciding difference.
TJ Gianni hits a big 3 at the end, and then ready for this? Joey Zacco goes down, bangs the 3-2, right? 5 seconds left. TJ Gianni and 1-3. Go down, Howie Miller miss. Mike Bizzuto and 1. Then Joey Zacco 3 makes a 5. Craziest ending of all time. I called it.
Yeah, nobody is gonna go back and listen to this unless that all goes down precisely and you're like convinced that it was all like that because you don't even know what the hell you just said. So you'd be like, wait, we'll have to go back and replay. So let's get into. Oh wait, let's not get into the next one. I didn't even make my goddamn pick. Holy cow! Slow down. Hold the horses. I'm going Flint Tropics. I think that even though I just hyped up Run TMC and talked about how good they are and how good they could be fully assembled, I'm going Flint. Flint just balled out. They beat the #1 team. They're coming in hot. They might win by like 6-7 points. It's going to be a close game. Run TMC is not going to get blown out. At least I don't think so. But Flint is going to win, I think, at least by 5 or 6.
Dom Migliore's old team.
Yeah, that's Dom's team. So a little revenge game. Greg, let's get into the next one now. Team Moose versus Sportslook. This is the game we talked about. Team Moose, they're going to be favored by 8. So they're going to be getting +8 versus Sportslook. Who are you picking in this one?
Sportslook.
Sportslook. A little hesitation there. Was that some nervous reaction?
No, I just, I looked at Sportslook. I was thinking about the squad that they have, and I'm just like, wow, they all show up. Easy money.
Easy money. So I'm thinking with the 8 points, if I just get Brad Seaman to show up, he's not going to let his team get blown out at the gym. So 8-point cup, and I think Sportslook wins this game as well. So I'm going Team Moose with the points, Greg. So 2 differences so far. Hopefully I can hold up. Shocker versus Rim. This is going to be another one where the spread's going to matter, Greg. Shocker is going to be giving 9 points to the Rim Breakers, which I think makes things interesting here.
Yeah, I agree. And I might change my pick. You know what? No, I'm going to stick with it. I think Shocker's pissed. I think Mike Davis, the last time that he lost a game, he dropped 59. I think Shocker, Greg Daniels, Danny, I think Jason Hernandez, I think all those guys, Pratt, they're coming in. Didi even showed up. I think if Didi's coming, this team's going to have a big game.
Get on with it. Get on with it. All right, you're done? All right, cool. Greg hates the Rim Breakers. Low-key.
Oh, my God. Here we go.
Says it low-key.
Here we go.
Behind the scenes.
Here we go.
I don't pick them because I had to try to get a lead on you. I actually don't like picking them.
I
was like, yo,
that is a lie. Yeah, Connor's the one who's fake Steelers fan just to like Bronson.
To prove my point, I'm picking the Rim Breakers, baby. They're
to win it?
Go out. I'm picking them. That's all you need to know. I'm picking them.
Yeah, exactly. So they're not winning. Yeah, exactly. You see that fake love. At least I give you the real love.
I'm picking them. You got.
I give the real love. If I'm not picking you, I tell you. He's giving you the fake love.
Oh no.
He's the fake city. I'm a nice never mind.
Greg's roasting me. All right. Let's get into the last one, Greg. Let's get it done. Chasers versus Young Kings, and the Chasers are giving up 7 points. A team that's been struggling to find wins is favored by 7. This might be a good game to pick the Young Kings, Greg. Are you? Crickets.
I don't know, man. This is a hard one, I remember an old story my grandpa used to tell me about when he was younger and he'd go to the store.
Where is this going? How is this related to trips to the store with your grandpa? Please.
All right, look. I'm gonna take the Young Kings. I'm gonna go Chasers win, but the Young Kings make it close. So I'm taking the Young Kings. But
picking the Young Kings. There you go. So I'm picking Chasers. We're going to make a magical comeback this week, boys. Everybody, thank you for tuning in. Greg, final thoughts, final words before we close things out and I make the epic comeback of a lifetime in the pick 'em.
Yeah, I have a few things to say. One, epic comeback. 2, hope everyone's going to have a great President's Day. I know that's coming up. I know that we're getting some nice weather lately, and I just hope that everyone's doing well. A lot of good Legacy League playoffs coming up. Me and Connor are getting ready to gear up for the playoffs. I know the interns are too, and also our boy Meyer. Anyone in the league wants to 1v1 him, come up to him after the games and just try to give him some work. I know he's always working. He's always ready to ball. And also, if you want, tell Chris Jasinski. He's not number 1 on my power rankings anymore.
Yeah, Chris Jasinski gave me multiple L's this week. First with the Patriots winning and then picking them and then them not winning. So that was garbage. Shout out Chris. Ruined my week. Yeah, gearing up for the playoffs. It's going to be good. We got the mock bracket coming out next week, Greg, for the pod. We'll be doing one of those like we always do. And then we also should do our mock MVP and all those picks and all the award winners, and also an all-star team. We have a bunch of fire content coming up, not at the regular seasons.
We're going to do all-star intern teams too.
So, yeah, all-star intern teams. You already know that. If we're doing a throwback, that I'm featured, all-pro, first team, all-American, intern. But that's going to wrap things up for another episode here on the Weekly Rebound. Thank you to everybody for tuning in. We'll catch you guys next week.
Flint,
baby.